Before we move on to our next topic, Brandon, we talk a lot of F1, and we had a voicemail left for the show. I believe it's an international voicemail, so we're gonna let our producer Ben Kudo let us play back that voicemail, and then we'll see what we can do with it.
Hi, I heard that I follow you. I live in the Netherlands. I follow your comments on F1, and I heard that Max Verstappen will be able to serve his 3-grid penalty, and also the penalty for taking on a new engine at one go. Is that allowed in F1? Success with your program. Bye.
Oh, I love it. A voicemail from the Netherlands. Thank you so much for calling in and leaving a voicemail. Again, folks, you can call that number. You don't have to call the show live. We'd love it if you did. But if you don't, you can leave a voicemail. We've got an awesome voicemail just now from the Netherlands. F1 stuff. Brennan, you're the expert. I'm going to let you have this one. Verstappen, the grid penalty. Have at it.
Well, first off, I want to thank our caller from the Netherlands for calling in and leaving that great voicemail, and for watching us every week for our great F1 content from here from the States. So thank you very much for calling in. And honestly, it was a great question. When I heard the voicemail, I was super excited because I said, oh, man, we've got a really knowledgeable F1 fan here with a great question that I think a lot of people have been asking going into the Sochi Grand Prix. So to answer the caller's question, the answer is yes. The answer is yes. It is legal, and you could potentially see that happen from Max Verstappen this week at the Sochi Grand Prix, or the Russian Grand Prix, whatever you'd like to call it. So obviously we know from the crash incident with Lewis Hamilton at Monza that Max Verstappen got himself a 3-place grid penalty. We were arguing that we thought it should have been at least 5-place grid penalty, but the FIA stewards settled on it being a 3-place penalty that he's got to go back in the grid. So now Red Bull has the option to say, okay, do we want to take our engine penalty at this point? And it has been known that Red Bull was going to have to take a 4th power unit at some point in time in the season. And it's looking like this could be that time where if they take the power unit, they go immediately to the back of the grid with the power unit penalty, which would also wipe out the 3-place grid penalty at the same time. So he would be serving it. But the rumor has it is that Red Bull is going to wait and see and make the decision once the weekend starts at Sochi, and potentially might even make the decision after qualifying and seeing where Max Verstappen can qualify, then decide if they want to go ahead and just serve the 3-place grid penalty, or if they want to go ahead and also take the engine penalty and also go to the back of the grid. But to answer the caller's question, I believe, yes, it is completely legal and is definitely an option that we might see happen this weekend at the Sochi Grand Prix.
Brandon, really quick, where do you think, a finish from Verstappen during qualifying is sort of the over-under line? Like, at this, he qualifies to here, we're going to take the penalty. But if he makes it this far, he qualifies this quickly, we're gonna wait for the penalty.
I honestly think if he qualifies in podium position, which we know is 1, 2, or 3, if he qualifies in podium position, I think that they might think, okay, if we only take a small grid penalty, we're only going to be in P6, and we're still right there at the start. And with the long rundown into turn 1 at Sochi, I mean, this is one of the longest rundowns to turn 1s in Formula 1 at any track on the calendar. It honestly feels like it's forever. I mean, it is just a drag strip down to turn 1 at Sochi. So if he can get in the great slipstream, even coming out of P6, going down into turn 1, he could easily find himself fighting for P3 or P4 and be right back into the Grand Prix, obviously. So I think that's one of those things. If he qualifies through 1 or 3, I think they might just say, hey, let's take the penalty. But I think if he qualifies any further back, I think they'll say, hey, let's pop in a new engine. Let's go to the back of the grid. Let's wipe out this penalty. And then we will have all the horsepower we need on an amazing track to be able to fight to the front. And to be honest, Max Verstappen has the capability to be able to do it. He is a great driver. And to be honest, he's done it at this track in the past. I believe it was in 2018. Red Bull, it could have been 2017, but I believe it was 2018. Red Bull also took an engine penalty there. He went to the back of the grid. He powered himself right back to the front and had himself a great race and ended up, I believe, on the podium. So it's definitely one of those things right now where there's a lot of options for Red Bull going into the weekend, and taking a grid penalty is one, but obviously taking the engine penalty on top is another option that I think all their strategists are going to be basically, thumbing through to decide, is that going to be the right decision after qualifying, or it might even be before qualifying that they decide that.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting too. And like, how much further are they going to kick the can down the road on that engine penalty? Because there's certainly some strategy involved in that. Folks, if you like this show, you're watching it right now on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube page. That's Comeback Sports on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel, Comeback Sports. And then all the cut-ups that our awesome producer, Ben Kudo, puts together after the show, that'll all filter to your YouTube channel. You don't have to go search for it. It's just right there in your subscriptions.